What is intelligence and how is it measured? Hi, I'm Shanika and I will be presenting on one way of measuring intelligence, IQ tests, and in particular, the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children, also known as the WISC. The WISC is currently in its 5th edition, having been updated using a normative sample standardized on 2,200 children from ages 6 years through 16 years and 11 months. And the test is designed to assess children in this age group using 5 subtests. These are verbal comprehension index, so vocabulary, comprehension, similarities between words, and so on. Visual spatial index, which measures the ability to use visual stimuli such as blocks and puzzles to solve problems. Fluid reasoning, which tests how children use new stimuli to solve tasks. Working memory index, which basically assesses the ability to hold on to information for a period of time while solving a task. And processing speed index, which is essentially how quickly a person can complete a task. From these subtests, raw scores are derived and converted to scaled scores. And the scores from each of these subtests has a mean of 10, and then they're combined with the full scale intelligence quotient. Now the scores are based on the standard score, which has a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15, as shown in this bell curve. So right in the middle of this bell curve is 0, and that represents a score of 100. Each line is one standard deviation from the mean, and that represents 15 points. So most of the population, that's about 68%, would lie within one standard deviation of the mean. So that would be between 85 and 115 in terms of their IQ score. And as you go to the left, you have lower IQ, and the scores get higher as you go to the right. The WISC is generally used when assessing children for disabilities. For instance, intellectual disabilities. A score of 70 and below might be an indication of an intellectual disability. It is also used in assessing for learning disabilities, as having average to high intelligence as measured on the WISC, while having low achievement in an area can be an indication of a learning disability. And of course, the WISC is used along with other measures and assessments in order to determine whether there's a disability or to rule out certain categories. How reliable is the WISC? A test is considered reliable if it consistently measures with the same degree of accuracy over and over. And the WISC is considered highly reliable with a correlation of 0.87. So an IQ score, if the WISC is done today, should be more or less the same if it is done a year from today. And our IQs pretty much remain the same throughout our lives. Is the WISC valid? Validity has to do with whether the test measures what it's supposed to measure. And this brings us back to intelligence. What is it? Does the WISC accurately measure intelligence? Well, it has been found to have a validity score ranging between 0.79 and 0.89. While the WISC effectively measures traditional forms of intelligence, it is important to note that there have always been questions about whether that is the only type of intelligence. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, for instance, covers a wide variety of abilities that might be overlooked by traditional intelligence skills. These include existential, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalist, bodily kinesthetic, musical, visual spatial, logical or mathematical, and verbal and linguistic. Then there's Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence, which considers intelligence as falling into three categories. And these are analytical intelligence, creative intelligence, and practical intelligence. While I do believe these all have a place, traditional IQ tests such as the WISC and the WACE, which is the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, still play a significant role in determining cognitive abilities, and they're especially useful in helping to diagnose and determine the needs of our special education students.